Welcome to another episode, guys, of Cultivate and Keep. It's Jeremy and Corey. Welcome.
Welcome.
Corey seems ashamed of me.
I am.
He hates that intro.
I do.
Sorry, guys. I love it. Anyway, today we are excited. We're going to talk about my laugh. We're going to talk about when and how to relax, which should be fun. Should be really chill, you know?
It'll be chill.
Yeah, dude.
Take a slow.
But before we get into that, we have a few quick announcements.
Oh, you want me to say the announcements?
Dude,
okay, cool. Well, super quick, just shout out to our Patreon supporters. Thank you. You can check out who they are, and you can also contribute yourself if you'd like to support us, you like what we're doing, at cultivateandkeep.com/support. Also, we're still working on curating our favorites page. We've just realized right before this episode that it's not even available in the navigation of the website. So we're going to make that a little easier to find, but we want to check it out. It's our favorite resources, which could be books, websites, other podcasts, courses. I mean, just all of our go-to recommended things to help you improve your walk with God and become the man that God created you to be.
Yeah. Good.
That's it.
Let's get into it.
All right. Cool. So I wanted to talk about when and how to relax, but basically just about rest and kind of the theme of rejuvenating, like getting back to like kind of refueling a little bit. That could be spiritually, physically, etc. But just kind of want to get your thoughts on your habits, kind of how you approach it, what you do. So if we could start with like when, like, I don't know. The reason why I bring it up is because I've been feeling super burned out pretty recently. Due to my own sort of shortcomings and my own faults with like work and with sleep, like not, staying up too late, getting up too early, doing too many different things. We've been super busy with weddings, like every weekend, it seems like, including yours. And yours is like the first one to like kick off all the way. I think we've been to like 4 already this year. So yeah, I don't know. I've been feeling pretty tired. And so about, what was it? I guess it's almost been like a month now. Monique and I took a week-long vacation for our first anniversary. 1 year strong.
Hey, I'm 2 months today.
That's right.
Woo!
Nice.
Well,
oh, wait.
When this comes out, it'll be different. But
yeah, we're recording the 19th. So
yeah, exactly. Anyway,
2 months in.
Back to you, bro.
So we took a week off for our 1 year anniversary. Went to Palm Springs, and it just made me realize, like, oh wow, like, well, one, this is amazing. I love relaxing, but also like, there should be more sort of intentional. I feel like relaxing and rest is like the leftover thing. It's like the leftover time that we give in our day. It's a leftover thought that we give. It's the, kind of the last resort. Like, we need to do all these things and then learn to relax and then rest. So it got me thinking just about how to be more intentional and systematic about resting.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we're talking about this because I think it's a topic that, kind of like you said, it's leftover, and it's kind of like if we get to it, we'll have intentional rest. And I don't think it's something we really consider it. I think for most of us, rest is really time to kind of like just veg out and to watch TV and to, maybe read a book, whatever it is. But I don't think a lot of us do it very well intentionally. I think it's kind of just like the leftover, like you said. Yeah. And for me personally, it's one of those things that, like in this season of life, it's actually really hard for me to be intentional about. I think that kind of like you, like any spare time that I have, I fill it with something that's good and productive, and so it's hard to be intentional. And more recently, I don't feel burnt out. I think that, but I do sense that coming quickly. Me and Connie, I was working on the our work schedule for the next few months, and I have a day coming up, April 6th, where I'm starting work at 7:30 in the morning, and no joke, ending at 3 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just like, I can't do that. That's like almost over 20 hours. And so like I'm anticipating this moment of like, I need rest. And so I'm glad we're doing this topic. And I think that, just like a basic part of it is being intentional. I think setting aside, honestly, just like the Bible says, like a Sabbath, like having one day when is your time to rest. And really, Connie's been really good recently about helping me stick to that. She's been really good about kind of getting me to think like what that means. Because like for me, like I don't mind like doing small like side projects or small things on like my Sabbath day, right? As long as I'm home and on the couch and relaxing, like I don't mind. And so like this last Sunday, for example, we had church and we did some errands and then we're home. And she's making lunch, and I'm on the couch on my laptop just doing a little bit of work. And she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm just doing some emails." And she was like, "Nope, it's your Sabbath. Put it away. Like it can. She's like, those will all be there tomorrow." And I was like,
Yeah.
like she's right. And so
Yeah.
I think being intentional, and I think kind of that second point is remembering like whatever like project you're doing or task or email, whatever it is, it will be there tomorrow, right? It's not going to disappear. And I think it's just hard to remember that, but I think being intentional and being disciplined about it is it's key. Because what happens is kind of like right now you're feeling pretty worn out, and I know you were doing a lot. Like I think me and you have spent a few Saturdays, working on some stuff together, and like I've noticed for you, like because you work from home, you're really in that office like almost every day, all day.
Yeah,
and it probably can't be good. Yeah, it's just too much. And so I think like being intentional about rest is important.
Yeah, and so I think as men we are more susceptible to this. And I want to be clear too, like it's sort of I don't know, maybe it's not the right way to say it, but almost like a good problem to have. Like if you find yourself kind of like focusing too much on being productive and working, like getting a lot of stuff done, rest can become like a sort of pushed aside a little bit. That's not like the worst thing, you know what I mean? Like at least you are working, at least you are providing, at least you are being productive with your time. But at the same time, I realized like this isn't something that and I feel like as a man also, like this is something that I can just let slide. And it's not something that you can ignore. Like spiritually, God set aside, like he wants us to rest, and he wants the time of devotion and of church and community, like to be kind of spiritually rejuvenating and to give you more power. But also like he literally set aside one day a week to rest and to relax. And even like every single day we sleep and we rest. I mean, last night it was 3 or 4, but I mean, usually 7 or 8 hours a night, a third of our day is devoted to resting and relaxing. And during that time, it's not like we're not doing anything. I think that's a common misconception is like, well, if I'm not working, then like I'm not, like nothing good is happening from this time. Or if I'm not spending time with other people, like basically if I'm not doing X, then like nothing good is happening. But in reality, when we sleep, just as an example of like physically, that's when our body like literally puts itself back together. All the muscles that are torn, they get repaired. All like the crazy stuff that goes on in your brain, your mental capacity, that all like gets flushed through. Like all like the sickness or like things that you're fighting and with illnesses, that's when it's dealt with. Like rest is actually a really crucial part to be able to work. And so that's this, like they work in tandem. You can't just focus on one, not the other.
Yeah, and I also think like we've acknowledged like when it's just work, there comes the burnout. And I think when there's like a balanced rest, at least for me, I find that when I have that rest, when I have like just gaps, or whether it's a weekend or a day off or 2 days off, I find myself like wanting to go back to my work, to
totally.
my projects. Now, I think probably not everyone's that way, but at least for my specific situation, I feel right now excited about things I'm working on. So I feel like, dude, when I have a day or two off, like I'm ready to go back. And I've also was kind of thinking like even back to Atomic Habits, like I think a lot of times at least for me, it's easy to focus on just being busy. Like I have the mindset that I want to work at least like 6 days a week is how I think, and I don't want to take like a traditional 2 days off. So I'm finding myself like working a lot, and I'm just staying busy. And it kind of comes down to like, what am I actually like working on? Like, am I working on the right things? And also like, if I'm not taking at least one day off, hopefully at times 2 days off a week, like I'm going to burn out. And I think kind of recognizing like taking time off, like it's even been good to like more than recuperating, but also like to kind of refocus and like kind of figure out, okay, like what did I get done this week, right? Like what has to get done the following week? And I think when you just work, you're caught in this like whirlwind of just like work and busyness, and we're not really working on the right things.
Yeah. Well, it's a vicious cycle because when you don't rest, then the time that you are working or that you are spending time with people or with your family or at church, whatever it is, then you're less focused and you're less productive, and you enjoy it less. And then you feel like you need to catch up, so you spend more time doing those things, and then you get even less rest, and then become even less productive and even more restless and less focused. And so you have to sort of break the cycle with just taking really devoted time to resting sometimes, like a vacation, for example.
Yeah, when I also think like as you were talking, I was thinking about like when I schedule out like things to do like throughout the week, we also need to be like we need to be aware of scheduling out just rest time, right? Whether it's start a
Right.
day or if it's on the weekends, like scheduled time where it's simply just resting. Why don't we talk a little bit about like
How?
Practical ways
Yeah.
of how to rest and kind of what that looks like.
Yeah.
I see some of your notes, but what are like things that you typically do to like rejuvenate and to kind of just have like refocus time?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that's been really helpful for me in the last it's funny. I posted on Twitter because I saw it somewhere, I can't remember now, but about how more and more people are like leaving their phones at home, like outside of the bedroom, locking it away, putting it away somewhere. And I was like, there's got to be something to this. Like, I always felt like I had good control over like my kind of relationship with my phone. But at the same time, I was noticing like, well, I'm staying up later and like I feel kind of attached to it. And it kind of felt like starting to feel kind of gross. So I posted on Twitter and I was like, who else? I don't know. Basically, it was like, who else does this? And like, I got like 20 responses, which is like kind of out of the normal. Usually I get like 2 or 5 or something. And everyone was like, best decision I ever made, best decision I ever made, best decision I ever made. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. So then I did it and I realized like not even like separating myself physically from my phone gives my brain like really good rest. Like literally I don't have like, I feel like my brain is more focused and it's, I can feel like it kind of like ease and relax when my phone isn't in sight or it's out of reach.
Yeah.
So that's been a big part, like leaving the phone in the bedroom when I go to sleep. I'm definitely going to start leaving it outside of the office when I work because just having it there, I feel like it's watching me. Just like, I just hate it, dude. It's like, I'm like starting to resent it really. And so, but like the biggest thing I think is getting your phone out of the way gives your mind a lot of rest.
Yeah, I think it's good. For me, I found like needing to change up my environment, and I think this would probably be good for you too because like we both for the most part work just from our homes, and so I found like on days when I'm having like a rest day, it's weird because like it's my same like work environment, you know, and so it's hard to get like that rest like mode, and so recently just like I've kind of always liked this, but having like a day or at least time to just get out and go do something like out of the normal. So whether it's going to like a different part of the city or like a new restaurant or like just doing something like fun that is just like lighthearted and like new scenery really. And it sounds like simple and small, but I've noticed that it's had like a pretty cool effect. I've been like a new hobby I have, which is kind of weird, but I've been creating like different collections on my Yelp and like different like restaurants I want to try, and it's fun. Like I get excited, dude. I literally just when I'm bored, like rather than going on like Instagram or Facebook, I'll go on Yelp and I'll just try to like find new restaurants in new parts of town. And I've like created like I have like 15 new ones I want to go to now.
I want to go follow you.
Yeah, it's fun, dude. And so I'll create these lists, and then like on Saturday I hung out with a friend, and sure enough, I went to a new restaurant and like tried a new thing, whatever. And so that's kind of fun for me. And it sounds super small, but I think like for me that excites me, right? Food and like new restaurants and new experiences, and so I look forward to that. Like I knew I had those plans with our friends. I was pumped, right? And so gotta figure out for you like what is gonna bring you joy, what's gonna excite you, what's gonna be like one thing you look forward to, and then do it. Like whether it's that or maybe it's surfing or learning an instrument or reading a book, whatever it is. Like plan for it, expect it, anticipate it, and then like you can be excited for it,
Yeah. This is going to sound really like kind of cliche, but like getting outside, but I'll give you some like practical examples. These are like my 4 like favorite kind of go-tos, like things that I've been like really craving is, and this is also sort of like a weird habit that I've developed and sort of like a new thing that I've been doing is that, like either early in the morning or like kind of in the morning on the weekends, I'll just go walk to the zoo and I'll just go walk around like by myself.
Question.
Yeah.
So me and Connie went to the zoo on Saturday, which sucked, by the way.
Oh,
Not
really?
because the zoo sucked, but parking, dude, was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
We actually went to Balboa Park, which is a part of the zoo. But,
yeah.
It took us like 45 minutes to park, and it was crazy.
It's insane.
The experience was good. But my question is, how do you walk to the zoo from your house? Because you're not... I feel like you're far, dude. Unless you're close.
It takes me about 15 minutes to walk.
Is there some like back way? Like
no, I mean,
cause I drove like right by your place and then like to Balboa Park, and I was like, this is far. Like,
well, one of the things is when you drive. Usually, when you drive like all the way to kind of like the zoo and like the main parking entrance. Mm-hmm. But there's also like the back side of the parking lot, and that so when I walk through there, like I'm already kind of like I'm walking through the parking lot is like half of the walk there almost.
Because we had to wrap around the front.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, continue. Sorry.
Anyways, what I'll do is I'll just go and I'll put my headphones in and I'll either listen to music or an audiobook or a podcast. And something about the zoo is just like my happy place. I don't know if it's like just the animals or like the environment, especially when there's not a lot of people there. It's super enjoyable just because you feel like you're in a different world. You know what I mean? Like it's totally different than like my house or the office or a coffee shop. It's this very new and different place, and it sort of unlocks like the ability to kind of relax and ease up a bit. So I'll go walk around for 2 or 3 hours and feel like even after walking like, 8 miles, I'll come back feeling like, oh, I'm so relaxed. Like I'm so rested. Like I feel, now I can like, go take the day and be rejuvenated. Another couple ones are walking the dog. This has been like a really great habit that I've loved doing in the last few months since we've had Remy. Every morning we'll go walk the dog and like getting outside. It's cold, but just like getting your body moving. It sounds kind of counterintuitive, but I feel like when I don't walk and the days that I don't go out and walk him, I feel like achy and kind of restless, and I feel like tired. But when I go and I walk, I feel really like alive and inspired. Or just finding a view. This is one that I've been wanting to do more, but Monique and I went to the beach on Sunday, actually instead of going to church. But that was like, oh man, just like walking and like looking at the ocean and just looking at like amazing like mansion houses, but just like finding something to look at, I feel like is really something like hypnotic and kind of, I don't know, relaxing about it.
Yeah, I think I shared with you when I lived at my parents' house before I got married. Like just the mornings on the patio and just like enjoying like that scenery. And I don't have that anymore, which is like a bummer. Like my morning routine is like my living room in my apartment, so it's kind of different. But yeah, I like those 4, dude. One of mine, which I don't do, honestly, like nearly enough, but would be fishing and going on the Julienne, man, being on the water. Like for me, that is one of the most like fulfilling and relaxing like times of my life. Just I love it so much.
Yeah.
Feel the ones on here. I got just one. Going to bed early. I see that. I like 2 weeks ago. Like I'm not sure how, but I had a night alone, so I went to bed at like 8 o'clock. It was so nice.
My 8 o'clock.
I didn't go to bed, but I just like got in bed. Like I read for a little bit, threw on a Netflix movie, and just chilled, dude. It was so nice.
Yeah, that is amazing. And that's one of the main points I wanted to make was, I feel like that's I don't know. I have a hard time like going to sleep because I feel like there's so many more things that I wanted to do in the day or that I could do, and I don't want the day to be over yet. But going to bed early is the key to then waking up early while still getting enough sleep and still being rested, and then having a great morning and then having a really productive day, which makes you not so tired after the whole day. I don't know. I wanted to point that out, that like going to bed early is sort of like the start of your day. And if you're starting your day out relaxed and resting and giving yourself the adequate, like this is where I was sort of thinking about like how rest is an afterthought, is because usually we try to figure out like how long we can stay up, even if we're like fighting, falling asleep. And then like we usually wake up at the same time every day. I have my alarm clock at 7. So I might stay up 11 o'clock one night, 12 o'clock one night, 11:30 the other night. And really what I'm doing is I'm cutting into my rest, my relaxation. So getting to bed at a certain time, getting to bed early is really starting your day off the right way and giving it the adequate time that you need to rest.
Good. My last one for me would be like connecting with friends and having just time. I think earlier I talked about like going to restaurants, but just like having good conversation and having good times of just being with friends, whether it's like a group or a one-on-one. Like for me, that's like really important. And I think recently it's been easy to like lump that into other stuff, to like lump that into like hang out with a friend like while doing errands or while working on a project or whatever. And I think it's important to have just simple, just like hang out, chill time. Yeah. And like more recently, I've done that. And it's been great, and it's been for me at least fulfilling. So yeah, that's great. Yeah. One of the things I'll just end on is just find, I think, like breaking it down pretty practically. Like instead of, I think a lot of people think of, well, I'll rest when I go on vacation. It's like, well, no, you need times like
more regularly than that to rest. A lot of people may not even take vacations, but they'll say, well, I'll take, Saturday morning off, or I'll take Saturday off. Or they'll think like I can take a nap maybe later. But find, like, you want a mix of all this. So find a time in the day to rest and relax, whether that's sleeping or taking a nap, finding a view, going on a walk. Find a time in the week or the month to relax. Make Sundays your Sabbath, like, keep the Sabbath holy and respect that. Or just find kind of days like once a month where you go out and do something, go get a massage, go out and do something different, go on the Julienne, go fishing, like treat something to something extra relaxing. Also, like, you want to have your yearly kind of vacations, your time set apart. I want to mention one of the guys that I follow pretty closely and kind of model after a little bit. His name is Paul Jarvis, and he's sort of designed his life around being able to taking October, November, and December completely off from work. So cool. And he spends all of his time during those months reading and surfing and kind of like traveling. He'll like go drive places with his wife. But the rest of the 9 months, he works super hard and he's very disciplined and he has crazy habits because he knows that he wants to take the next 3 months off. And he's able to do that for the last, I think, 5 years he's done it or something like that. Yeah. But just setting yourself up regularly, like he plans to take that time off and he gives himself that time to relax and to have very unstructured time to rest.
Well, I think that brings up another point I want to add. Like, I think having that next vacation or trip or just fun activity planned is important. I think when you can look forward to it, I think that's good. Like we always try to have like another trip planned. So we'll go on a trip, come back and have something just kind of on the queue, like on the horizons. And that way, like we get excited about it. It motivates us. Like thinking of that makes me want to work harder now. And so I think it's important. I think it's easy to like neglect that and kind of say, okay, I had my trip. Now I'm just going to work. Even like you said, also like, even if you have a trip plan, like, or a vacation plan, like still take weekly time off. I think that's super important. So. Yeah.
Don't kill yourself just for like looking forward to the one of the 52 weeks off of the year or two of the 52 weeks off in the year. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Definitely go out and check out cultivateandkeep.com/favorites for all of our favorite resources, books, websites, other podcasts. We can curate a list. If there's anything you want or you think we should add to it, you can reach out to us at cultivateandkeep.com. Find us on Instagram or Facebook. Otherwise, we'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.